So many times in life, we think that seeking a solution, doing more, reaching for more, grasping at more things, researching and finding that next step and how to take it in the perfect way is actually something that inhibits us. How many times have you wanted something so bad that you did everything within your capabilities to align yourself to that future, to that thing, to that goal that you wanted? How many times have we all done that? We all know this trap, this trap of, if I chase it, I will receive it. If I chase it hard enough, if I put in the work, if I break myself in order to get this thing, if I do absolutely everything in my capability, everything physically possible to try and magnetize that event or that thing, that realization, that place you want to be into your life, that the more we do that, the more we misalign ourselves with the very thing that we're trying to get in the first. See, when you're doing the things and you're getting to the next step and you're searching for the next right thing to do and you're grasping at all of these roads that you should be going down and you're trying to go down all of the roads at once. You're trying to start all of these paths because you think the more paths I set up, the greater the chance that I will reach my destination. But in truth, what happens is the more paths you choose all at once, the more misaligned with the final event you actually are becoming. You are distancing yourself from the very clarity, from the very presence, from the very thing that is going to lead you to this place. And I think all of us have been in a situation in our life, but you gave all that you could. You did everything on your behalf that you possibly could. You went down as many paths. You started building as many paths to that end goal as you could possibly make. In doing so, you lost yourself. In doing so, you lost the very soul that made you the person that you are. The version of you that was living and was actually aligned to maybe that future state, that future place that you felt yourself in. You ended up doing so much, grasping at so many things that you started to become someone, something that was not the person that you are and that you're aligned to be. See, the more we try to grasp, the more we try to take the path, the more we try to set it up, the more we think, the more we react to our outside conditions to bring something into alignment, the more misaligned we are creating ourselves. We're not being the very being that had started to align to that very feeling of living that you are coming into, whether a relationship or a job, maybe money, whatever it is. We all have that thing that we did absolutely everything that we possibly could to try to get. And we lost the very self, the very feeling, the very thing in the depth of your heart that you really truly wanted, that your heart was aligning to. What you really truly wanted was alignment, not some specific goal, but alignment to your truth. And the more you try to align yourself to some external thing, the more you misalign yourself with your very own truth. So what can we find in these ideas? What can we find in this thought form about ourselves? What can we receive from the knowledge that we have of this cycle that we've all experienced of going down all these paths and just doing the grind, like staying on the grind, because the grind is what's going to bring us those opportunities. It's going to bring us that success. It's going to bring us things that we want in life. Well, let me ask you a simple question. What do those feelings, what thought form created the idea that you had to do more and forcefully align yourself to the outside condition that you think you're seeking? What is it that is pulling us towards chasing a path? Just really ask yourself, sit for a moment and ask, take a breath. Why am I chasing? And you may find that you're scared of something. You may find that what you're chasing is not out of alignment, but out of fear. Are you chasing this relationship because the feeling you have when you're chasing this relationship is the feeling that you want to cultivate? When you are chasing that person in your life, when you're chasing that job, or when you're running away from that person, or you're running away from that job, what is it that you're feeling inside? Are you feeling alignment, or are you feeling fear? Are you feeling resentment? Are you feeling excitement? What is it that you're feeling while you're chasing? And let me ask you, that feeling that you are embodying while you're chasing that thing, is that the feeling that you're looking to receive? That thing that you're feeling while you're chasing, is that what you're looking for? Is that what you're looking? Because I can tell you, if you're not enjoying the feeling that you get while on the path to receiving your alignment, then you're not in alignment and you're not in your truth. If you're not enjoying the process, if you don't feel like yourself, if you don't feel present, if you don't feel still, if you don't feel bliss, if you don't feel calm, if you don't feel safe in yourself while you're on this path, then is it in alignment? Is it in alignment if all you feel is fear? If fear is the driving force for you to reach that goal? You see, doing and reaching and grasping many times are a mask to what it is that we're truly dealing with. It is a mask that we put over the stillness that we feel in our everyday life, the bliss that we feel in our everyday life. We are masking the internal happiness that you always have, the bliss that is within yourself, the alignment, the attunement that you have to your own body and the world around you. We are masking it by chasing. We are masking the true presence and stillness and depth that we all have in our hearts, the truth of who we are. We mask it by doing more, by grinding. We mask who we truly are and what our true alignment is by forcing ourselves to act when it is not in alignment with who we are. You see, there's been many times in my life where effort completely blocked my clarity of my truth. You see, years ago, I started to play music, and I loved music. I loved it then, I love it now. I wanted to create it. I found so much joy in creating it. And it was just so blissful for me to play and create music, write lyrics. And I loved the path. The path was blissful. It felt aligned. But something changed. You see, I started feeling pressure. I started pressuring myself to be better, to grow faster, to put out a bunch of music, to do all these things, to do more, to start going down all these paths, to do more, practice more, do this, do that, do the other thing, start singing, start posting videos, start doing all these things to bring myself into alignment with the love that I have for music. But you see, what started to happen was I started to not enjoy walking that path. And I had no idea why. I love music. I love music. Music, I feel so aligned with music. What changed? Why am I not enjoying this? Well, fear kicked in. Wanting validation, wanting approval came in. Wanting to be successful came in. Wanting to get money and have this be my job came in. I began filling myself with these expectations of where happiness and where alignment was going to come from making music. And I started going down all these paths to expand into this alignment. I just started throwing all these pebbles, making all these waves in the ocean, trying to expand my reach. But what happened is, as I threw each pebble into the water, I looked down and the water was no longer still. And all the ripples were crashing into each other, interweaving and making a big mess. Through my fear and wanting to look good and be validated, I lost the essence of the spirit that I was putting into my path of music. And I can tell you, the lyrics that I started to make and what I started to do in presence and in alignment, far more beautiful than anything I tried to create when I was doing it out of fear, when I was doing it out of a need for validation, or when I was doing it because I wanted something from outside to come in. I lost my spirit. It was that reaching, that grasping at my surroundings, trying to grasp for that end goal of people listening to my music and loving it and having it touch their heart and looking good and going on tour and all these things that I thought is what I wanted, right? I thought that was my alignment, but in thinking and in trying to reach for that alignment, I lost who I was. And the music that was coming through me became not me. It became not me. And what happened was my life that was coming into alignment had shifted because I began to make decisions that were out of alignment with the truth of who I was. And that was presence, stillness, and patience in my craft, not pushing it, not giving it a bunch of nutrients and water and sunlight and dirt and fertilizer and trying to make the flower grow in a day. No, you're gonna kill the flower. You're gonna kill the flower. You can overwater the flower. You can over-fertilize. You can do too much. And when you do too much, you come out of alignment. You drop out of alignment, and you drop out of alignment with the life that your soul is aligning to. And when I started making music when I was younger, and I was doing it out of alignment, I can tell you the goal I was reaching for was already here. When I was doing it out of alignment, that future was already in here. It was already within me. I didn't need to wait. It was here. And whether it manifested tomorrow or a year or 5 years or 10 years from now, I can tell you it didn't matter to me in that time because it was already here. When I let go, when I had no expectations and I had let go of any external validation, that feeling I wanted to cultivate was here. It was already here. When it was out of alignment, it was here. When I started reaching, when I started to grasp, when I tried to pull that feeling into alignment, the moment I started to set all these pebbles into motion into the water, the moment I set all these other roads on the map, that feeling left. The moment I started to force that next step, it felt so far away. It felt like I could do all the work every day and it would never come. I could have done absolutely everything, but I would have never received that alignment. So sometimes you need to learn how to trust that feeling of alignment. You need to trust when you should surrender to the process, because surrendering to the process is what brings you into alignment. When you surrender to the process, that's when the real opening occurs, and that goal becomes every single step on the path. That goal becomes every step on the path. There isn't a moment that you take a step and you're not in alignment with who you are and who you are meant to, because you are just being your truth. When you're being your truth, you can't be out of alignment. And even if you're being in your truth and you slip up, that is okay. It is okay for you to fall out of alignment. We're not perfectly conscious. We're not perfectly present all the time. But when you notice that, when you notice when you fall out of alignment, you come back. It's like coming back to the breath in meditation. If you stop focusing on your breath and you're thinking about something else, come back to the breath. If you slip up and you come out of the truth of your alignment, that's okay. Just reel it back in. Come back to the truth of who you are in this moment, and that is stillness. That is presence. You are pure presence. You are pure bliss. You are pure alignment when you are you. When you are just being who you are in true alignment. You see, many times we're reaching and grasping at paths because we don't know what the next step is that is in alignment. We don't know which step to take that is in alignment with who we are. So sometimes we start to search and we start to grasp for something outside of us to tell us where that next step is, to bring us to the solution. But when we learn to surrender and trust the source of where everything comes from, where all of your alignment comes from, and that's through your being, when you trust that, and you allow it to unfold through you, and you allow it to take its time. You allow truth to blossom like a flower. You don't force the truth to unfold. You give truth the space to blossom. And that wisdom that you need in that moment on the next step to take, it will come to you when you're present in yourself. When you don't know the next step, just come back to yourself. I come back to my breath. I come back to my meditation. I feel myself in my body. If you don't meditate, come back to that cup of tea, silently. No TV, no nothing, no phone, just you and that cup of tea, you and that cup of coffee, you and sitting outside while it rains. Just whatever it is, just you. Not thinking about the expectations of the world and not thinking about what should come next. When you let go of what should come next and you just be in yourself, in your truth, the way you are, that is when wisdom arises. That is when the next step arises, is when it comes out of the alignment of you being yourself. You coming back to the stillness of your heart, the source of what is coming through you. When you come back to yourself, you look for the answer in yourself. From your truth, it will unveil itself. It will reveal itself for you. It's not something you need to go find out there. Maybe a video kickstarts it. Maybe some word that somebody said yesterday or tomorrow, or maybe something I'm going to say now is what kickstarts. But nothing outside of you is the source of that next step. Maybe it can help you reflect back in yourself to find that next step. But you need to trust yourself. You need to trust your inner alignment to find that next step that you're supposed to reach. In guitar, in music, how many musicians made a beautiful song and their progression, their chord progression, just that when something sounds beautiful and unique and from the heart? How many times has a musician accidentally landed on that progression? How many times were they just playing? They accidentally hit some notes. It sounded cool. They made a mistake here. And them just being, them just surrendering to the music is what allowed that next step in the song to come. When they get stuck and they just sit, they listen, they play, they don't think. That's when that next step comes. That's when that next chord comes, is when you accidentally slide your hand, when you just surrender to the process and you don't overanalyze. That is when it comes. The artist that makes a mistake, but it becomes the niche of that piece of art. Sometimes the most beautiful steps that we take are the ones we take out of surrender. The ones we take that feel as though it's not one that we're taking, it's one that just lands. It's just a step that just lands and we're not the one that takes it. It's a step that comes through us. We didn't take the step, but our body took that step. And that is where some of the most beautiful realizations, some of the most beautiful steps into alignment occur. You see, healing and insight and wisdom, they don't arrive when you're looking for them. They don't arrive on demand. You don't have wisdom come through you. You don't have the next step. The next step just reveal itself when you want it, when you demand it. You see, we always think that we can command the next step to come in place based off of our expectation of how things are supposed to land, right? How things are supposed to play out. But that's not always how things work. We need to realize that it doesn't arrive on demand. It arrives within its own unfolding. Your life has a rhythm to it, right? You don't just play the music straight. You don't just play every note in the same interval, right? You don't just play one note every half of a second, right? That would sound like you're playing a scale. There's a rhythm to it. You don't play whatever part that you want when you want. You allow the rhythm to unfold. You allow it to flow. You don't force it. You don't demand it. You don't block it and say you're not allowed to go this way. You have to go that way. When you block it, you're not allowing your life to flow. They arrive in rhythm. They arrive when you are in resonance with the truth of who you are. When you are not reacting out of fear, out of pleasure, out of excitement, but you're responding out of alignment. You respond out of alignment. You don't react based off of external conditions. So how do we surrender and flow with the direction that we're supposed to flow in? Well, we need to use our presence as the compass. Surrendering isn't about letting the outside world decide the next step for you. It's about coming back to yourself, coming back to your body, and you stop trying to find that next step. Where is my water flowing? You feel it in yourself. And what it feels like when you find the right next step, it feels like clarity. It feels like unexpected clarity, like you just woke up and you woke up with no fog. You just woke up, you remember your dream. You remember your dream and you know exactly what that next step is. It's an emotional release. It's like stress and tension being relieved because you are in resonance with the next step, because you are in resonance with your truth. It reveals itself through that clarity, through your perspective being so clear that this is right, and this feeling that you're receiving is the feeling that you're trying to cultivate. It just becomes so clear that without a doubt, you know in yourself that no matter what outside condition tells you is the right next step, that this is the right step. You see, the path that you're walking is not separate from you. You are the path that you're walking. You are the process in which you're in love with. You are what you're searching for. You are what you're seeking. You are the path that you are looking to find. All you need to do is be the path. You need to be yourself. You need to be in your truth. And then you can become what you are aligned to be. You will become what you're aligned to be when you realize that you are the path. You are not separate. Your life is not separate from the path. You are the very path that you are looking to take. You don't need to set up a bunch of dominoes leading in all these different directions to find your way, because you are the way. No matter what path you take, if you take that path in full presence, you will reach the end, because you are the end. But if you set up multiple paths and don't walk any of them in full presence, you won't find yourself. You won't find your path. You won't reach the goal of the space you're meant to be in, because you are the space. You are the space.